Welcome back, nerds! Today we are getting into some annoying and downright messy retcons. No one is safe from a rewrite in the Marvel Universe. 5. Franklin Richards. Franklin's retcon is one of my least favorite, so that is what we are kicking off with. Franklin Richards, son of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, as you either knew or you were introduced to in Fantastic Four First Steps, he had a major identity crisis in the comics when he found out he wasn't actually a mutant like everyone had believed for years, even the magical Krakoa. Franklin at full power can create universes and shape reality, including unconsciously making himself appear as a mutant. So he went to Krakoa and he made all these friends and settled in, only to find out that he can never go back. There's a lot of heartache there, but also Father of the Year, Reed Richards, originally prevented Franklin from going to the island by artificially masking his X gene and causing a huge fight in I think Washington Square Park, tax dollars down the fountain. It caused a pretty significant rift in the father-son relationship and it was really bad and ultimately all for nothing. 4. Evil Tony. Tony Stark was evil for a minute in the 90s. Really, it was more than a minute. He was under the control of Kang the Conqueror, and we don't actually know for how long. Avengers: The Crossing revealed that the person that was systematically destroying the lives of the Avengers and their loved ones was someone on the inside, Iron Man. Taking down your own teammate that has been fighting alongside you for years is really hard. So the way the Avengers decide to fix that problem is by traveling back in time to get Teen Tony, because they hope at this point that he is not corrupted yet, and the only person that can beat Tony apparently is Tony. In the end, evil Tony sacrifices himself to save the day, and Tony's just a teenager for a little while. Many fans dislike this retcon for what it did to Iron Man's character, but it was also just confusing and made everything after it slightly confusing. It was revealed Kang was just trying to create confusion, so he really nailed it there. However, this is kind of funny because Kang got kicked out of the MCU, right? He was written out of the MCU, but now we have an evil Tony. Lots of people were complaining about the RDJ casting, but what if Marvel is just planning the most iconic retcon inspiration reveal ever? I mean, they aren't, but if they do, you heard it here first. 3. Moira the Mutant. This next retcon seems to be kind of a love it or you hate it situation, and a lot of people hate it for not making much sense in the X-Men universe. Moira McTaggart was revealed to be a mutant and not a human. Her mutant ability is reincarnation, but kind of the cool kind. Instead of just being reincarnated and needing to start all over every time, she keeps all her memories and everything she's learned. It's neat and explains why she's very smart, but in the 90s there was this thing called the Legacy virus, and Moira was the first human to get it, which was a really big deal. Before her, only mutants were affected by this virus, and she developed the mutated strain that caused serious mass mutant hysteria. Anti-mutant riots happened, and it was not cute. That would cause a lot of guilt if she were a human that caused this, but how much guilt is she really feeling now that she is the mutant that lied and caused all of that just to save herself from being found out? Plus, she gave a sample of the mutated virus. She literally provided a sample, and that sample was studied by great academic scientists in detail, and no one clocked that they were looking at mutant DNA. I feel like that is just something that they would have or should have discovered. But 2. Magneto's heritage. To clarify, this retcon is not true anymore, but it did happen. At one point, Magneto was actually not Jewish, but when he was being investigated by Sabra and everything, it was found out that the name Eric L was fake. There were hints that Magneto was not actually Jewish, and instead he and his wife were Romani. This didn't really go over well with fans, considering being Jewish was a pretty foundational part of Magneto's history. Pretty soon, it was permanently cemented that Magneto was Jewish when he got his actual fleshed out backstory. So now, definitely Jewish, can't really see that changing, but that wasn't always the case. And 1. Wanda and Pietro, and finally the worst of the worst, to some at least. Wanda and Pietro are not Magneto's twins or mutants. It's hated for a variety of reasons. This retcon is still not even accepted by some fans, and many theorize that it only happened because the MCU couldn't use mutants as those rights belong to Fox, but they wanted the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in a movie, so everything had to change. The overall story got messed up, and people like their favorite characters to have a story that makes sense with decisions made for them that fit in with the rest of the world and not because of a legal battle in the real world. One thing I am desperate to know about this though is if Wanda and Pietro are not Magneto's twins, then who are Magneto's twins? We know that Magneto's twin babies were delivered. They were delivered by an evolved cow. That is not something that you just forget. Wanda and Pietro found out that they weren't related to Magneto a decade ago, so what happened in between? I can't find anything on it. It's just a little weird that Marvel hasn't explored that since it's been literally a decade since Wanda and Pietro discovered their father wasn't their father. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, nerds!